Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Operational Intelligence Market Overview here at InsideAnalysis.com. My name is Eric Cavanaugh with the Bloor Group, and today we're going to take a look at Oversight by Oversight Systems. We'll be talking to Patrick Taylor and Ben Vanderver. So with that, gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to you and show us what you got.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're really, as we've talked about, we are very focused on driving insights, getting them in front of people in the front lines of business so they can make smarter decisions. And really where we're starting out here, as you can see, is with an email. Because one of the ways we believe, to push out an insight, if I can get it to people as part of the normal course of business, that makes it the most actionable. So in this case, this would have been an email that I would have subscribed to. It's been sent directly to me. And the real thing to notice here is down here below in the indicators, there is in plain language a description of why do we think this is an issue you should care about. And the point is, it should be very straightforward for someone to read these, and now you understand, okay, this is why this analytical software thought I had an issue worth dealing with. And if I want to now look at that, I'll go and there's a URL embedded in the email that takes me right into the application. And we have to do a little log in here. And what I'm seeing now is, again, that same insight I looked at before. And what you can see here is, again, the plain language description, a graphic representation of the problem that we're identifying. And then I'll take you down here to the bottom, to these three boxes across the bottom, because, again, one of our real emphases is it's nice to find stuff, but if we're not driving the process of action, we're not driving the resolution, the seizing of an opportunity, then we're really not delivering a value to the corporation. And so I can decide to assign this problem to someone else in the organization. We can change the status and say, okay, we need to put this under review. I can also begin accumulating, hey, the root cause, I think this was because we had inadequate user training. And again, what's happening here is I'm driving through the workflow, the process to make sure that something happens. Now, there's a lot of complexity that went into producing those indicators. There's a lot of complexity going in the background here of managing this workflow. For instance, if you tell us that you corrected a problem, we're going to make sure that we actually see that the issue was corrected in the underlying ERP systems. If we see a correction made in the ERP systems, we'll automatically update and keep this notified. So again, our real emphasis is on let's make sure not only that we're finding interesting insights, but that something is happening with them, that we're driving value. And because I'm keeping up with all this, I can also really track my ROI, track my return. Root cause analysis gives me the kind of information I need to drive ongoing process improvement. There are capabilities like being able to put notes that, hey, check this out, whatever that happens to be. I can push that out with other people. And I'll also mention that we have a over here, everything is recorded in a permanent log. So anything that happens in the system is kept in this log so we can track activity. And if you're using this in any kind of compliance domain, you can absolutely prove what happens. Now, one of the new features in the product is this version of our product is the ability for people to subscribe, to make it easy for people to subscribe to different insights. So again, basing on my username and who I am, my rights and privileges, I could have different insights that I could subscribe to, and I could talk about what parts of the organization I want to look at those from. And again, all of this would be controlled based on what my roles are. So, we're not going to let everybody look at everything, but control which insights and which data sets you can look at. You can also, of course, enroll people. If you want to make sure people are getting insights, of course, you can, I guess, forcibly enroll them into things, and then they can choose how they get notified when we found an issue. Because again, in our experience, and we've rolled this out across the globe with companies like Pfizer, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Yahoo, United Technologies, Sony, Adobe, the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, people aren't looking for another new application to log into. But if, in essence, something taps them on the shoulder, and tapping, I mean looking at an email, and says, hey, here's something you ought to look at, and they can quickly understand what's going on there and then act on as appropriate, that can drive real value. And that's really what our system is all about, is driving the real value, and particularly driving those people on the front lines of business who, frankly, are busy and, aren't going to go around and explore data. But again, if you give them the actionable intelligence, they will make the smarter business decisions. So really, it looks pretty simple up front. The analysis we can provide is easy to understand. You can figure out what to do with it. But underneath the hood, there's actually quite a bit of, the way most things are, if it appears simple, that means there's a lot of complexity that's happening underneath the hood. And so now I'll turn it over to Ben to show you what the components are that help us create and deliver these kind of insights.
Great. Thank you, Patrick. So what we wanted to do here is just to give you a bit of a peek behind the curtain, if you will, of how you can structure these building blocks to deliver very powerful analytical capabilities across very complex data sets, but leveraging the capabilities of the Oversight solution to quickly put these solutions into action. So here we're signing into Oversight's configuration interface we call the knowledge management interface. And this has the ability for you to configure both modify out-of-the-box analytics that we provide, what are known as integrity checks within Oversight, as well as to author new analytics by either starting from scratch or taking an existing test and modifying and extending it from that perspective. So we'll walk through an example that is widely deployed within our customer base, what we call voucher duplicate invoice. And so this is an integrity check that focuses on identifying invoices as they are processed within a procure-to-pay function, and then identifying those that are potentially duplicated. And those are identified, again, as actionable insights that are then routed to the frontline staff that then take appropriate action.
They're able to prevent you ever sending the duplicate payment out.
Exactly right. So, and we'll just quickly walk through this set of tabs that are related to this particular integrity check to show you how the pieces fit together. So this first tab is what we call the general tab. And this is essentially the high-level overview. There's a lot of the description here that says, what do we tell the user? What did we find? What data do we want to show? And what that does is construct a plain language description of the insight that Oversight has identified. And that allows the user, instead of having to dig through deep technical jargon and do any type of heavy research, they're able to very quickly understand what happened and make a quick determination of the appropriate steps. Again, cancel a transaction, notify somebody, but the idea is that it's very efficient and can be very quickly tuned and tweaked to each organization's specific language, whether that's the wording they use in a process, whether that's the language they speak. So very, very powerful here. This filter piece down here at the bottom allows you to restrict certain areas of analysis as well as appropriate. So some things don't apply to all areas of an enterprise, and that's how you restrict that. The next tab here is what we call the Entities tab. And one of the key challenges in analyzing complex data sets is bringing that data together to be able to consistently analyze it. And so what we've done here is create a concept of an entity, which is the piece of data that we're analyzing. And so here you can see in this case, there's a voucher, which is one of our common data model tables that Patrick mentioned earlier. We're also looking at things like the vendor and the user. And and then again, down here, there's the second voucher. So we're looking at the same piece of data here. But this allows you, this wizard interface allows you to quickly construct analytics that bring data in from a lot of different places. And the data can be from different parts of one process or one system, but also in many cases we're bringing data in from different systems as well. So one very common test that our customers perform is comparing the employee files to the vendor master files in procurement to look for potential fraud. So just one of those ways that you would, in this case, or in that case, you would see vendor and employee. The next tab here is what we call indicators. So these are the individual tests that enable Oversight to build evidential reasoning capabilities, and so each test provides each indicator provides one evidential test which identifies a specific issue that has occurred. One of the very powerful capabilities here as well is you can leverage multiple reasoning techniques within one integrity check. So each indicator can leverage different types of analytics, again, referencing some of the things we talked about earlier, basic Boolean tests, or true-false. We can bring in fuzzy logic matching. We can bring in temporal analysis. We can bring in chain type analytics looking for patterns of activity. All of those things can be leveraged to very precisely and specifically identify the insights that we are delivering.
Yeah, and real quick, I'm guessing that for a power user, you can actually go in there and modify that expression. Is that right? In other words, there's sort of a template that is either pre-designed or comes packaged with the tool, or you start to design your own. And I'm guessing power users can actually modify the expression itself?
That's exactly correct. And so the way the software is typically deployed is there is a small amount of tuning that aligns the solution with the specific business environment, so the customer's solution. So you can change this expression. If you need to add a new indicator, you just click this Add New Indicator button here, which then will actually create, if we go down to the bottom, there's a new blank indicator that you can create to add to this test. And then you can also, the system automatically creates a separate configuration file. So you're not actually updating the delivered software. You're creating what we call a layered file that keeps your changes separate and discrete from the delivered software.
That way, as we upgrade our out-of-the-box analytics, you don't have to redo your work. It just layers right in on top of that. So it's a very elegant concept that addresses what you said. Hey, let me tweak this to make it make sense for my world, or add another indicator to extend this, yet still keep leveraging the out-of-the-box, the improvements, enhancements we make as we gain experience across clients around the globe.
Can I ask a question about that, the out-of-the-box pieces? Did you say that you are going to start partnering with more and more subject matter experts so you can offer a wide range of out-of-the-box terminology that I would assume would then go under that general tab? Yes,
you would, and yeah. Over on the left, you can see our library basically is it, and this is Ben's a super user, so he has pretty much every library we have available. But yes, what would happen is essentially a domain expert would begin to build out their own integrity checks. It's really, if you look at you don't have to do a lot of reading about big data and analytics to realize that there's kind of an analytics shortage, right? There's not a lot of data scientists, or not enough. And then further, really correctly leveraging sophisticated analysis and things like statistics and stuff is difficult. And what this is a way for people with the deep expertise to represent that and then get answers delivered out into a larger set of employees, again, to folks that probably don't have the time and probably don't have the deep analytical skills. So we look at this as a real way to address the gap between the number of people that really know how to analyze data and the number of the people that could benefit from getting delivered analysis.
So just to quickly look at this integrity check just briefly, the way, in this case, we're looking for duplicates of two different transactions. And so you can see the different indicators here, each represent, again, a different type of test. So in this case, this one's looking for exact identical matching. This is looking for one type of fuzzy logic, so leading zeros and or punctuation. And if you keep going down here, you can see there's additional different types of tests. And again, what this allows you to do is bring a lot of these different reasoning techniques into one higher level analytic to identify these issues as they flow through a business process.
You're, in essence, in modules and building blocks, it's able to build a very complex analytics, sort of a unit of logic at a time. And it's proven to be a very elegant way to build incredibly complex analytics. And a build that I'm going to comment, maintain and update as well, right?
So also notice here the confidence. Patrick mentioned the risk scoring. This is where you set, what is the risk if this particular issue is identified? What is the risk to the enterprise? How do we classify that? And that's used to drive things like prioritization of the insights as they come out. Just very quickly, there's a statistics tab here that allows you to quickly define statistics, which will identify what is normal within the enterprise. You can see here this is looking for normal ID formats and invoices, but that allows you to quickly understand what's normal within the business and flag things that are outside that. And then this view tab allows you to define what the user sees in terms of the transactions as they come out. So it's quite powerful, and again, each of these pieces is put together and then created, the high-level analytics is created from this.
It's a very building block-oriented approach.
Yeah. And then just to show you the output of this, here's just one additional slide we wanted to show you that just to make the point of the complexity of what we're doing here. So this is the actual SQL, the actual analytic code that is generated by an integrity check. And so as you can see, that this is almost impossibly complex, and the ability to build the pieces in the interface we just showed you allows you to abstract that, which not only allows you to do very complex logic, which is possible but very difficult if you're writing the SQL like this, but it also gives you the ability to maintain, extend, enhance, and keep the solution up to date as time goes. So it's just another peek behind the curtain, if you will, in terms of the complexity.
Yeah, this is, again, our whole goal is to drive intelligence, to drive insights into the front lines of business, into operations, and to be able to deliver answers for people. So, we're not an ad hoc, let me go explore and find new ahas kind of tool. What we are is a platform for putting ahas to work and getting the insights generated by those ahas into the right person's hand at the right time so they're in a position to make a better decision.
Yeah, and if someone, for example, gets an alert on something that you find, and then I presume there's a way for the end user to then go in on certain occasions and say, yes, this was a problem, we did solve this. I mean, can you as a user rank the accuracy of something that the system sniffed out such that it can better learn over time to get better predictions?
Yes, and that's actually a capability that is coming out in our. We've just come out with, which is to track. We'll do both, track the statuses and how you record this, and you can have a very deep level of those. Take that as feedback back into the analytics so that they can become more intelligent. And as I mentioned, we're also watching the changes in what's happening in the ERP system itself, or whatever the system is we're monitoring, and so we can also learn from those as well. Learn from how we see stuff is updated and use that to say, okay, we were right, that was an issue because it was changed at a later date. Therefore, we can increase the confidence that the weighting we apply to this particular indicator. So that's one of the advantages of not just thinking about spewing out a report, but of really putting insights out there to work and thinking about driving the action, the resolution of those, is it gives you the data you need to create the feedback loop to constantly improve your analytics.
And when you onboard a system, do you go back in, for example, to like an SAP instance and dig up as much historical data as you can, or do would you connect to a data warehouse to pull in like historical information on customers and CRM systems and stuff like that?
Yes, that's Yes, we do use that to build baselines because a lot of what we want to do is to understand what's normal and what's abnormal, right? What's usual, what is unusual. And history obviously gives you the perspective for doing that. So yes, we do very commonly pull a lot of historical data. One of the interesting things is, and that certainly lets us get smart to begin with, but we get smarter ourselves as we're watching it because I'll give you an example. If is a vendor address or customer address is changed in an ERP system, they don't keep the old address around. Now we do keep up with that in our system, or if you make a change to a PO, the old data is not kept in the ERP system. We are because we can use that as part of the analysis, but B, it also helps us in the overall learning to track, to keep up with the changes that happen at the individual transaction level.
Okay, good.
Well, we certainly appreciate the opportunity to show this to your audience. Thank you.
Hey, well, thanks so much. We've been looking at Oversight by Oversight Systems. Thank you very much. Great job.
Great. Thank you.